The following presentation was recorded live for the International Association of Square Dance Callers 21st Annual Convention. This is tape number 22, Showmanship.
1, 2, 1, 2. For the benefit of the tape, this is the Showmanship panel. And before we get all rolling, if you do have a question or a comment, please use the microphone in the center of the hallway there, so that we can get all the comments on tape, so that there's not a big long gap when you buy the tape and you're wondering, well, I wonder what went on there when I hear nothing other than people laughing. So if you do have a comment, please use the tape. Use the mic. Yeah. My name is Tony Oxendine. I will be the moderating kind of person for this. And we're going to do this one a little, this is Tim Marriner, for those of you guys who don't know Tim. We're going to do this panel a little differently than has been done in the past, because there's been a showmanship panel every year, and most of the time, a lot of the same things get said, and I'm sure that even this morning, some of the same things that you've heard before are going to get said. We're going to do it a little differently in the fact that we're not going to do it as Tim gets up and speaks for however long and then quits, and I get up and speak for however long and quit, and then we ask questions. We're going to kind of do this thing as a team, and we're both going to be speaking along the same topics. Should you want to interject at any time, please get up and we'll recognize you at the mic. We're also, since the theme of the convention is reach out and teach someone, we're going to be discussing showmanship and teaching and how it can be applicable, both from everything from one-night stands on up through lessons on into club dancing and all the different levels, actually through plus, we're going to be discussing. Right?
How are you doing this morning?
I'm okay.
Are you awake?
I'm okay.
Can I be heard? 1, 2, 2. Check. Hello. We're on the tape.
We're on the tape. If you notice, one of the first things that happened this morning, for those of you guys who are sitting here, Tim was working the hall a little bit. I was up at the front here, but if you notice, Tim was on the sidelines talking to everybody right off the bat. And that's one of the first things that you have to learn about being a showman, is that people have to see you. The only way, and the best way for people to see you is be out amongst the masses. So if you want to make an impression with people at a dance or at a workshop or at lessons, prior to anything happening, showmanship starts before the dance. Talk to the people, work the hall, shake their hand, try to use their name. That's why we wear name badges. And people love to hear their name. And it helps you.
And we're real quick at reading them, too.
Can read a badge at 20 faces. Anytime you speak to somebody, if you have to glance at their name, but say, Sam, good to have you. You know, Mary, it's nice to see you and John here. People remember that. They like that. And it helps set the tone for the rest of the evening. And you can set the tone for your dance prior to ever picking a microphone up. If it involves being at the dance early. If you have to get there 15 minutes early, get your equipment set up. Meet the people.
You know, what's interesting, too, Tony, is sometimes, you probably don't get this as much as I do, but sometimes if you go places that you've never been to before, you always have a dancer or two come up and they say, oh, are you the caller tonight? You know, and you have to say, as a matter of fact, I am. And then you start talking and relating to who you are to them. Being that I'm a little younger than Tony.
A lot younger.
There's a stigma right up front about an age problem. And they look at you and they think, oh, you're too young to be our caller tonight. Where's the caller? We're looking for some old guy out here. And because all we saw was a name on the flyer. We didn't see a face. So it's good to be out there prior to the dance, to talk to the dancers, get to know them, let them know your credentials before you even get started.
Yeah.
You know?
Have you ever had a situation where you know, and I know several guys, you know callers that are quite good, just talented callers, and yet the people don't seem to like them because they say he's shy, and it's because he doesn't get out and relate to the people. You have to talk to the people.
And you know, another thing, a point on that too, Tony, is the idea that even during the dance, this shyness that people perceive of you sometimes is maybe you're going out in the back room to smoke a cigarette between tips. all right? You've got to still be out there visible to the dancer, to the people, so that they know that you're out there working the group, working the crowd, making sure they're having a good time. If you keep going out the back door to smoke a cigarette, people are going to think, oh, you know, he wasn't very friendly.
You know, by the same token, if you go out and you only speak to the same people, you go to a dance and you happen to have a couple of friends there, and these are the only people that you talk to in the course of the night, it's going to be hard to make an impression on the masses. You have to get out. But what I do as a general rule, I try to start at the beginning of the dance, and I'll take one side of the hall, and as they're sitting between tips, and I'll walk however far back I can get on the side of the hall until the start of the next tip. And at the start of the next tip, I will kind of amble back to where I left. And eventually, I'll work around the whole hall. I may not speak to everybody there, but I'm going to speak to the majority of the people.
Right. And
in doing so, as I'm walking by and I come up and I say, hey, Charlie, good to have you. At some time during the dance, people love to hear their name amplified through these speakers for some reasons. At some point during the dance, I may decide to use Charlie as an example and speak to Charlie during the dance. It may be right in the middle of the patter tip. It may be nothing more than, Charlie, doing okay out there? And
turn around, Charlie. Turn around, Charlie.
Oh. So you guys know Turn Around Charlie.
And you know, another thing, good, if you can get a couple, and I've seen Tony work this too with groups, but if you know of a young couple, maybe they're engaged, maybe they just got married or something like that, and it's good, you get that couple's name, and as you work the dance, and you see them, and you can keep glancing, y'all still here? Are you still here? And little things like that, and to use their name during the dance.
Now, also, you've got to be aware, too, that some people may not, there are some people that get embarrassed. You don't want to embarrass anybody. You can find somebody. You can usually pick a guy out in the course of talking to him or her throughout the hallway. You can find the guys with a good sense of humor. And I'm not saying ride the guys and joke them and cut them. Speak to them. Use their name. You may want to use 2 or 3 people's names. People love to hear their name. That establishes the mood for the rest of your evening. If they see that you are open and vivacious and that you're enjoying being there, they're going to enjoy seeing you. There's nothing any worse than going to a dance or going anywhere and seeing a guy on the stage that looks like he would rather be anywhere else than there with you. If the dancers can feel that you're enjoying yourself, a lot of times it doesn't matter how good you call. Have you ever seen, I'm sure everybody has an example in the area of a guy that's just really not a good caller. He's technically not a good caller. Doesn't call any material. Does the same singing calls week after week. Calls jerky material. But yet he's got one of the biggest clubs in town.
Absolutely. And the reason for that is because the personality of himself or his partner as well. You have to sometimes include the partner in some of this pre-dance showmanship.
Now that you have a partner, you can relate to that.
Thank you very much.
Or at least that you have a partner. Incidentally, Tim is newly engaged. He's supposed to get married in about 2 months.
Thank you very much.
Hey, he's still here.
I'm still here.
Yeah, he won't. He'll be leaving right after this.
We made breakfast too and everything. Thank you very much. We appreciate your support. Thank you.
Now, have you noticed? Let me give you a perfect example before we get going. One of the things that we as callers tend to do sometimes, as I said before, needing to be visible for the people to be able to see you. Have you ever started? One of the worst things we can ever do is set equipment up right here, with the table in front of you and the speaker sitting on the table here. Dancers can't see you, and you stand back here and call the whole evening.
With notes or something like that, and you're all just behind the table, and there's no outwardness to where you're standing behind the table.
The people can't see you. They see you. They see parts of you. You know,
if you get in a situation where the table is set up like that, hey, this is your show. They hired you to come in and put on a presentation. You have to be gutsy to say, hey, look, folks, I really need to have this table turned a quarter or behind me or what have you. Now, I prefer it beside me, and we all have our own preference. I don't like to have a table behind me only because of the fact all night long, in order to handle that turntable, I've got to have my back to the folks, and I'm doing all this stuff, and, oh, let me get the next record out, and you're doing all that. And that doesn't look good because they don't want to see your backside, usually. They just want to see... you know, they want to have some presence. They want to see you forward in motion. So
that's why you have these mic cords. You know, that's why they're 10 feet long, so that you can start over here on the side of the stage. You may want to call part of your dance over here. And what happens? The people on this side of the hall get the impression that you're talking to them.
Right.
If you're looking at them. And then as you go along, you may want to come out and call in the center. Call to these people. Come over to this side. Establish eye contact with the dancers. One of the worst things that we can do, and we have to be careful for those of us that read our material, and there are callers that read material, and there's nothing wrong in that. But if you call an entire evening of a dance like this and never establish eye contact, it's going to be very, very difficult to establish any type of rapport with the floor.
Right.
If you can't relate to them and have them relate to you, they have to be able to see you and have you see them.
And you know, you take an example of all the folks in the showmanship business or in the entertainment business. How many of you all have been to rock concerts or country concerts or any sort of a concert where you see the stage is set up with a little bit of an oval and Garth Brooks is swinging off of ropes halfway into this side of the audience. He's working this crowd, waving to them in the balconies. Wish we could do that. And then going down here and waving, and he's working that entire group.
I never thought of swinging out on a rope.
Well, we got a mic cord.
It's got potential.
We've got a mic cord. But anyway, if you take some of their examples, and they have videos out too. They film these concerts, and you can take parts of their showmanship styles and relate them to something that you're doing, whether it be a hand gesture or a nod or just a wave in the back. How you doing in the back? You know, everything going all right in the back.
Yeah, and be aware too now that anytime you're on the stage and you're using gestures, remember that on the stage you have to be bigger than life. Your movements have to be exaggerated for the people in the back to have the effect that you're actually doing something. If you want the people back here, if you want to know that Bill Hyman is back there and I want to relate to Bill, you know, a big hand wave, you know, and not, you know, maybe a queenly wave. But yeah. You want to affect the people in the back of the hall. So often we forget the people in the back of the hall.
And again, if you pick out a leader in your group too, if there's a particular caller that's come out to your dance and you think they can handle, if you know that individual a little bit and you think they can handle some comments over a microphone, you just say, you know, great to have you with us, Bill, or I saw that, Bill, or anything like that. And the dancers will know, oh, well, he's talking about that Bill Hyman guy, and he must be turned around somewhere, you know, or something. In the wrong square. Come back.
He's selling records.
I didn't see that. Come back.
With that in mind, dancers love to hear you relate to the callers. And incidentally, that if it's not even part of showmanship, that is a big part of professionalism if you have a dance. Please be sure that if you have any callers or round dance leaders that you know and their partners, make a special effort to speak to those guys.
And again, when we were mentioning try to go around the entire hall, sometimes that's not quite feasible, but just you want to make a beeline because you want a glass of water, you know, and you really need some water. But you have to go and you've got to greet these folks all the way, and you might not get the water the first time, but the second time, then you can go back halfway through and start the rest of the crowd before you get to that glass of water.
Be aware, too, that one of the most important things, and we're still talking prior to the dance, there's so much that goes on before the dance that we never take into account of. And this is applicable to one-night stands. It's applicable to lessons, to your club dance, to specials, to festivals.
You know, again, I don't mean to interrupt, but
it's okay, I'm used to it.
One thing, we're going to be doing this off and on to each other. So one of the things, too, before you go on stage, all right, we haven't even made it to the stage. We're still talking prior to dance here. Before you get on stage, usually somebody's going to come up to you and say, hey, do you mind if I introduce you? And you say, oh, absolutely, please do that. And my goodness, I would think everybody needs an introduction. They even introduce the President of the United States, folks, okay? And you don't want...
Ladies and gentlemen, Hillary Clinton.
Ms. Hillary Clinton. Right. And her sidekick, Bill. But But in regards to that, be off the stage. Let them introduce you. And then when they say, big hand for Mr. Tony Oxendine, he can come running up the stage and get
swing out
on his mic cord. And now the stage has been set. He's on the stage, ready to go, and you talk and greet, and hey, how's everybody doing? And you're all doing great. That's how you get on the stage. You don't want to be milling looking for records when they're introducing you behind the guy, and you're already standing on the stage. There's no show to that.
Now notice something too, because we kind of got together and planned this prior to. We're trying to show you now what you would do before a dance. Can you tell that we're trying to establish a mood with you guys? If we can get you laughing, okay. It beats sitting there and trying to hammer something in. This is how you establish the mood. This is you're looking at an example. A couple of 3 years ago, I did a showmanship panel with Bill Peters and Craig Rowe, and we made a dramatic entrance with like music and cordless mics, and that established the mood. The guys thought, hey, this is weird. Yeah, laser lights. But this is how we establish the mood that will allow us to kind of get into some things that may not be as lively. If this is going to be a teaching type session here, some of it is not going to be as lively, and we're not going to be able to laugh and joke the whole time. I hope we can. But this will get your attention. It wakes you up. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. Smile, Mitch. Nice suit, Mitch.
Good suit.
Hey?
Hey? Something about the hanger.
Tim, why don't you tell us? We're going to try to discuss some different facets. We're going to go from everywhere from one-night stands all the way up through maybe special dances, working through the different levels.
Right.
It's kind of funny. I've been calling for 20 years. I've been calling full time for 14.
Full.
F-U-L. Yeah.
Not F-O-O-L. Full time.
Not F-O-O-L. But I in my entire calling career, I've done one night stand. And that was way early in my career. I was about Tim's age. I was about 19.
Thank you very much.
And I had a bunch of inebriated Shriners, and it was just. And since that, I've never done. But anyway, we're going to want to. But Tim has done more one-night stands than I have, so I'm going to let him handle one-night stands, and maybe I'll.
Well, it's your beginner nights. It's your greenie night, and you have non-dancers out there on the floor. Many of those dancers have no earthly idea what do-si-do is all about. And somehow or another, you have to project the idea that it's fun. You have to take the edge off the crowd, because there's some folks that are in there nervous, all right, and they really didn't want to be there. They're thinking, what am I doing here? How come she dragged me in here? And then what's the deal? And so you have to be able to get those folks on the floor. And first of all, you have to show that prior showmanship styles and get to know the people. And then during that one-night stand, when you get up behind that microphone, if you've met a few of them and encouraged them that, hey, this is going to be an all right evening, honest. You get up on that microphone, you say, hey, everybody, come on, let's get on the dance floor. Now, I'll put the music on first and let that music kind of pump a little bit and say, hey, everybody, let's get on the floor. We're going to have a great time tonight. Gentlemen, get your girl, put her on the right-hand side, and let's form a large circle. Come on, we can make a big circle. And with that encouragement, there are going to be folks that are going to come out there and start things going for
But does it sound like he's having fun already, just in talking about it? If you can portray this out to the people out in the audience, it's going to be a lot easier to get people on the floor if they think you're having fun already and you haven't even done anything.
Right. And so you're portraying that image that, hey, this is going to be a great night. So they get out on the floor and they make a large circle. The music is going. And for one-night stands, now everybody has their own techniques of how to do things. I personally like to get them dancing and just go. I don't care about the styling or anything yet, because they're just going to see this one night, and if they like it enough, they're going to come back and do it again. And maybe they'll join your lessons. Maybe they'll decide to take classes because, that do-si-do night was a lot of fun. We had that swing. We were swinging, and boy, she grabbed me with the left arm, and I used my right, and all of these things. So you have to get these dancers on the floor, and you say, circle to the left, circle to the right. And then there's somebody that's still going to go to the left. They said, no, the other right, or the other left. when you grab a girl and you tell her that, okay, we're going to use the left forearm now, and they extend the right arm, joke with them. Say, hey, no, it's that other left arm over here. You say, all right, we're going to get in a ballroom dance position like we're getting ready to do a waltz. Come on in here. The music's still pumping and going. And you slide right hip to right hip. Where's going to be somebody go left hip to left hip? And even if there isn't, you say, it's that other right hip. You know, come on, slide right hip. We're going to walk and swing.
Turn around, Charlie.
Turn around, Charlie. And we're going to go 4 times or walk forward around each other in about 4 steps. Let's call that a swing. All right? You put a name to it after the fact. You get them single file promenading along, and you say, all right, gentlemen, step up on the inside of the girl in front of you. Shake right hands. Introduce yourself to that person. If you don't know that person, well, of course they're going to know that person, usually. So they're promenading and shaking right hands. You say, underneath the right hand now, join left hands. Men's palms up, ladies' palms down. Hey, by the way, you're doing a promenade. This is a prom. Now, we've taken a backdoor approach to teach them what they're doing. You're using English words to get them through a sequence, and then you say, hey, folks, the name of that call is promenade.
Yeah, what we forget sometimes is that our language that we use in square dancing is so foreign to civilians. They've got, and a lot of our calls, if you think about it, some of the calls that we do sound like the action. You know, Alaman left, everybody's heard of. Do-si-do, everybody's heard of. Promenade, everybody's heard of. Swing. But square through, to a layman who's never heard anything, they can't relate to a square through. If we can get the people doing the call prior to giving it a name, and then give it a name. And notice, too, that what you're establishing here, and this is important, and is that you want to get the people in an attitude of having fun first. These guys are having fun. They're doing this single file thing that they don't know what it's called, and the boy's standing beside her. They're doing this thing. They're having fun, and just accidentally, on purpose, these guys learned the call. But they had fun first. So what we need to concentrate on, if we can have the dancers having fun, then learning, you'll kind of learn by osmosis. That'll be your secondary goal. We want, as showmen, as entertainers, we want to give the dancers entertainment. We want to give them a good time. In the course of that good time, if we can teach them something, then that's great. But even if we don't teach them anything, even if they don't learn a thing, if they come and for 2 hours they have a good time and they smile and they enjoy themselves, then you're successful, whether they've learned anything or not. You've done your job. Your main job is to give these guys a good time. And part of the reason that we've got some low numbers now in square dancing, I think, is that we as callers have forgotten that we're entertainers, and that we've gotten so worried about choreography and teaching the latest calls and teaching the best styling that we've eliminated being sure that these people are having fun.
Tony, let's take this a step further and go into classes. Let's say we've now established that we have 4 squares of new dancers that have come out. And we've done this Greenie night again maybe two or three times. And they know now what a single file Indian style promenade is. And shaking there, are you, Tony? A little ice. Happens. So they know how to do the single file promenade. They're going and they're moving. You get them in a class situation, and just because it's called class, it doesn't mean you take the fun out of it. You don't want to get the dancers out on the floor and say, okay, folks, what we're going to do now, no music, you're saying we're going to do something called square dancing, and we're going to all take a hold of hands, and we're going to have the men's palms come up, and the ladies' palms go down, and your left foot is going to extend approximately 1.5 feet to the left of you, and then drop it down, sliding the right foot back on over to meet that left foot, and continue this process until I say stop. Okay, are you ready? Let's workshop it first. All right, without the music, everybody do this walking action to the left. Here we go. Now, all right, and we call that a circle to the left. Now, it's not going to change because I put it to music, and all right, I see this when I go out to one-night stands, and I pain because of it. I mean, let's let these folks get out. They know what hands are. It's English. Anything that you know that you can tell these people in English and explain it to them, it doesn't take teaching to do it. All right, circle to the left, join hands. Men's palms up, ladies' palms down. And I'm telling you, if they make mistakes, that's where they're having fun. You know, somebody slides into each other and they go, oh, gosh, he did say left. And you're going. So now in your classes, you're working these routines. I'll take one example, and Tony will probably have some others too, but if I get them into some movements and I'm teaching the night or the goal of the evening is going to be separate, splits, and passes and those types of actions, the goal posting and things. That'll be what I'm going to be working on. All right, so I'll say, and they know how to do a do-si-do, so I'm saying, all right, head couples walk into the center. I said, and let's have the music going. It doesn't take too much to say, head couples do-si-do once, and then just do a half of one, folks. Walk halfway through. And so maybe the timing is off, but at this point it doesn't matter. Let the music pump. So they now have done a pass-through. And you say, separate away from your partner, gent going left, lady going right, or whichever way you have them set up. Just go around one person. Come into the center. Pass by this other person. All right, now see those two in front of you? Split those two people, go around one. Come into the center again. Now, after I've worked that a few times, I'll come up, and this is fun. I'll say, hey, folks, there's a name to that. It's called head couples, pass through, separate, go around one, come into the middle, pass through, split two, go around one. In other words, there's not a name. You've just used English to get them through directionally.
But can you tell too, hate to interrupt you here,
yeah, go ahead.
But can you tell part of what's making this effective? Notice the vocal inflection that Tim's using as he's explaining this, even without dancers here. Okay? His voice is uplifting. He's having fun. The dancers feed on this vocal inflection. If he did this same routine and said, okay, folks, now we're gonna walk past each other, right shoulder, and we'll pass through with each other, and then we're gonna go between the other two people, and then we'll turn away and go around and come back into the center, and you know, you guys aren't gonna believe that's a split two, round one, separate. These people aren't gonna have. It's not gonna be nearly as effective as if he's enjoying. He said, okay, listen, guys. Well, this is great. Look how good you guys did. Compliment them when they do it well.
Right.
Compliment them when they do it bad.
Say, look good. Let's put a name to it.
Yeah.
But now,
turn around, Charlie.
Turn around. And they're having fun, and they don't even realize that you've now attached a name to some of these things. It's great.
Yeah. And there's all kinds of examples as you graduate on into lessons. If you're teaching to people, we get to the point that it gets so repetitious sometimes because we know that dancers learn by repetition. Do the call over and over and over again. Well, now, anything you do, most anything you do, over and over and over again, there's a point that it's going to become boring and you quit learning. When you get bored, you're going to quit learning. If you think about it, think of when you were in school. The class that you got the most out of usually had the most energetic teacher that you enjoyed being there with. The teacher that stood at the blackboard and talked and went like this, you were asleep. We need to use that same type attitude. If you're going to teach a particular call and you have to teach it over and over again, get creative with it ever so often so that they get a different feel for it. For instance, if you're doing ladies' chain and you have these dancers dancing ladies' chain, fore ladies' chain, head ladies' chain, side ladies' chain, sit down with pen in hand, or if you have enough money that you can buy Clark Baker's software, or Caller's Note, or Caller's Angels,
or a Mont Blanc pen,
or a Mont Blanc pen. Take the time to work out what would happen if I did a head ladies chain 3/4. Well, that's kind of cute, and now you're still teaching the call. Unfortunately, when they chain 3/4 and the side man turns them, you're going to have a line of 3 at the side position, and you're going to have to figure out a way to get out of that.
Usually a roll away in a circle to the left.
Would work. It'd work easily. But look at what you've done now. You've taken a call that they've been dancing over and over again, and you've made it showy now. They feel like they've really done something. Take the call, to another example, if I take the call pass-through. You got these people doing pass-through separates. What if, and this is a great question for callers, for we scholars to use the word if. What if I did that? And do this at home that before you go to class. You know, this is home preparation, but what if we're working pass-throughs? How many ways can you pass through? Lines of 4, pass through. What if you said from, say, lines of 4, you said, Okay, just the girls on the diagonal with each other pass through.
Using English.
Yeah.
Tell them they're on a diagonal.
Yeah. Now, you could, if you wanted to, if you were a C1 dancer, you could say, okay, girls, jaywalk. And they don't understand that. But if you say on the diagonal, they understand diagonal, pass through. You've added a whole new dimension to the call pass-through.
Going back to even to classes, Tony, on this, if you were to do, you're working ladies' chain. Let's say tonight we're working ladies' chain. And you get the girls to shake right hands with each other, pull by, shake the man's left hand, and you put the free hand in the small of your back, you courtesy turn around, and you're doing that routine, and you notice eventually the ladies they'll drop that hand. And you say, hey, ladies, that hand back there is the target for the men to reach for. They know that there's a target back there. If that hand's not there, hey, it's free. It's free game. That hand comes right back up there again, doesn't it? In a hurry. And so you've now teased them in a way to remember that, hey, I put that hand up there to do that ladies' chain. Now you have the head ladies' chain, the side ladies' chain, and you're doing that routine good. And let's say you do them quick, just for the fun of it. Head ladies' chain, side ladies' chain, side ladies' chain back, head ladies' chain, side ladies' chain, head ladies' chain, all four ladies' chain. Well, you haven't taught the four ladies chain, but you should see the cluster going into the middle and going across to the other side, and they're hooping and laughing, and then you come back and say, hey, that was great. Let's see if we can figure out the pattern and how that works better.
But notice the way it was presented here, as he's presenting it. He's not teaching four ladies chain here. He is, but he isn't. But the way in which he's doing it, with the vocal in place, the excitement, and getting the people moving, they're having fun, they're going to do the four ladies chain without thinking about it, just because they're saying, God, this is great, and they get going and they're having fun, and they don't stop. We do so much of stopping. We forget sometimes that this thing is called square dancing.
Dance.
And I watch so many callers that do the boys part of this and the girls part of that, and everybody do this, and then we stop and we check our spot and we do this next. It's hard to be showy if you're calling like that, guys. And the best material in the world is wonderful, but if you're only impressing callers and you're not impressing the dancers, you ain't going nowhere. And if I have to impress somebody, I want to impress those people out on the floor and not callers. And sometimes we worry about that too much. Take it on up. Let's say we're already into classes. We've gotten through classes and we have our club going now. I think you can see the kind of examples we use for lessons. But what do you do once you get the people graduated? They're in your club. Surely each Tuesday night on your Tuesday night club, you can't come in to smoke and lasers and swing out on the vine each week.
Right. I'm convinced, Tony, the reason why we don't retain as many dancers from the class to club is because we groom these dancers to be like little birds, and they're being fed all the time. We groom them to be in a teaching or a learning mode, and by taking their mute record off and, okay, tonight, these are the 3 calls we're going to work on. You had a manual, and here we go, and this is the one we're going to do tonight, and let's do it right now, and we'll work this one, and then we work this one. All right, with so much regimentation in classes, when they come to the club, they're expecting that sort of same thing, and now they have to dance. Well, if you're doing that regimentation in class, when you come to the club, they don't know how to dance. They're so used to being drill sergeant through things that they forget that they have to go out here and have fun. And I think we can retain more dancers through the showmanship style techniques in your classes to get them into the clubs that way, if you use these techniques.
If you get them acclimated in the beginning to where they're in this enjoy mode, they're in this have fun mode. God, it's Tuesday night. Let's get ready to go to square dance lessons. We've graduated them now. They're in and they're still dancing. You know how people dance? They bounce.
Right.
But they're in your club now. Now we've got to worry as well, guys. How do we keep our club members happy? Getting classes is great. We need the new people in the activity. We need to bring new people in. However, it's probably more important that we keep the ones that we already have, because those are the people we're losing. not only are our classes smaller now, we're losing the people that we had in clubs. They've gone to somewhere else. They've gone to bowling. That's the argument I hear people say, well, it's hard to compete with movies and with VCRs. Or this. I maintain if you give them the guys a good time on Tuesday night, you ain't got a thing to worry about with rented movies or bowling. They'll look forward to their Tuesday night club if you give them a good time. And if, in the process of giving them a good time, they learn something that's wonderful. So how do you teach something and make it fun, and at the same time, have them learn something? We do, and I'm not advocating taking shortcuts on the calls. I'm a believer that if you teach a call, give the people the correct definition and how it's done. Now, after you give them the correct definition, if your styling will enable you to cue it differently, to help them with helping words, that's great. If you take, for instance, any call.
Try walk and dodge.
Walk and dodge is a good call.
Boy walk, girl dodge if they're facing lines. Well, maybe in classes you haven't, really worked the dancers into your new class members into learning that. But as you're dancing them, maybe in the club level and whatnot through the summer, you could say, hey, let's have the boys walk straight across, the girls dodge.
Yeah.
All right? Or you have lines looking out and you have two men in the center. You say, boys walk, girls dodge. Well, that's a step and slide, but they don't need to know that.
Have you ever thought of calling, and it's really, really smooth, from like a flutter wheel type action? At the completion of the flutter wheel, girl walk, boy dodge. It's just there. It adds a whole new dimension to your type, because you think, God, where do I call walk and dodge? Touch a quarter. And so the people here touch a quarter, they know that either scoot back, walk and dodge, or something of that nature is coming each time. The whole thing is let's get some variety, and that involves teaching. You're going to have to show these people the different ways, some different calls, if you want to keep your club members interested.
I don't think you're taking the record off and showing them how to flip the widget. You see, that puts them back in that teach mode that you're regimentated in classes. And because and sometimes I've seen it, and sometimes there'll be a call that new come out, if it's a quarterly, that takes taking that record off to do it. But I'm afraid if we get to so much of those types of calls, they're going to keep going. They want to keep learning right on through C4, C Nile, all right? And they just want to keep learning.
For those of you guys that don't know what a flip the widget is, flip the widget. Randy Daugherty is a call that Randy Daugherty wrote. It involves 7 people in a square. So if you ever have, like most of us, where you don't have a complete square, see Randy Daugherty. He's in the back, and he'll tell you how to flip the widget with 7 people.
I love it.
But can you get the idea of where we're trying to go with this? You don't have to stop and teach a call every time. You can, in the course of your calling, work something different in. I'll tell you something I did the other day, and it was completely by accident. And I'm sure that perhaps some of you guys have called it before, but now I'm a little stupid at this sometimes. And I had intended to call this sequence. I was going to call a flutter wheel. I was working flutters and reverse flutters, and my object was I was going to pass through partner trade and do a reverse flutter, followed by Dixie style, because that flows so well, reverse flutter to the Dixie style. So I'm thinking in my head as I'm calling, okay, partner trade, reverse flutter, and then do the Dixie style, because the group was having trouble with Dixie style, and I was theming my particular tip on Dixie style. And I said, pass through, partner trade, boys lead, reverse Dixie style. And the floor said, for the benefit of the tape, that was a wild-eyed look by the moderator. But then I thought, well, naturally the floor did not do that, okay? But then I thought, what a novel idea. Now, like I say, somebody may have called this before, and I don't know that a reverse Dixie style is quite legal. I don't know that that's a legal call, but it sure worked that night. Because then that added a whole new dimension to because I was doing Dixie style. I was using that as my theme tip. And so I was using Dixie style with from a double pass through with the girls in the middle and have the girls on the double track lead Dixie style. And that just added a whole new meaning, because then normally Dixie style throws you to a left-handed ocean wave. But But a reverse Dixie style threw me to a right-handed ocean wave. It was perfect. I could do a reverse Dixie style. Now, be aware, too, that if you guys are going to go back and call this at your home club, give me credit for it.
Wait.
But if you're going to call it, let me give you a little hint, something I found out that if you don't, you'll find out the hard way. You better call girls do something in the middle as soon as you call it. You better have them trade or something because they want to do something right after that call. They don't just want to stand there.
Can I just say girls do something in the middle?
Girls do something in the middle would be effective. But that's the whole thing. Well, that gave me a whole, and I could, and then when I called that, when I called reverse Dixie style, I stopped because it scared me too. Well, now the folks said, God, this, the guy made a mistake. Dancers love to catch you in mistakes. Right. They love to catch you, and these guys got just the biggest charge out of me just being absolutely befuddled by this reverse Dixie style that had blurted out from my mouth that I had never called in my life. I had no idea what I was.
Combinations, though, you don't want to deal with, like slip the clutch and shoot the star. You don't want to delve in any combinations of that sort, or flip the diamond and cut the diamond. You don't want to come up with any variations of those either.
No.
But I'm telling you, what he's doing, he went ahead and he made a mistake, and with his showmanship style and technique, he went back and used helper words to get those folks through that call.
I made a major screw up. And it turned out, instead of having egg on my face, I made it work I made my mistake work for me through through showmanship, through the entertainment value of it.
And we would call that showmanship through the choreography. That's what you're doing.
Hey, good way to lead into this. Good way to lead into this next part.
Right.
I was wondering how we were going to get there.
Just go right to it.
Yeah. But can you see, just work at it. Here's one of the things that we don't do, and for the life of me, I've spoken to several guys over the course, many guys over the course of the last years. I'm sorry. For the life of me, I don't understand why we as callers don't take our craft more seriously. We don't take the time to learn how to do the calls. And you can't be creative with the calls if you don't know how to do them. And so often, you stop and ask, you ask somebody, well, how do you do a right and left through? And there are situations where callers just really can't tell you how to do some calls. I would hazard a guess that if I stood here and by a show of hands, if I asked everybody, would everybody believe me if I said that a do paso ends in an alaman thar? Except for here. I think for here the ratio would be 75-25. Everybody would say, no, they don't end in no thar. But 75% of the callers that you meet on the street will say, you call do paso, they go to an alaman thar. Most callers, I feel, don't know where that call ends. Well, you can't use that call effectively. Have you ever called do paso, just reared back, walk around your corner, do paso, and then don't call an alaman thar? Here's what happens. The dancers do what? They do an alaman thar.
Put it to a thar.
Then, at that point, instead of letting them know that they messed up, okay, here's showmanship. Because you don't want them to go to the thar. You call do paso, partner left, corner right. They're getting ready to go to the thar, and you say, all four ladies chain. Because we all know that do paso ends in a courtesy turn. Do you know that? Do you know that, Charlie?
Mitch, you know what's cute with that do paso? If you're with maybe a plus group or an advanced group, and you walk around, you say, walk around your corner, come back, do a do paso. Instead of cueing, turn your partner by the left in the corner, by the right in the back. Or instead of cueing that stuff, you just say, hey, folks, I find, and you're talking to the dancers, and they're doing this do paso. You say, I find if I don't cue that, it's a little more difficult. And you just leave it at that, and they're thinking, you're right, because they're expecting that partner left, corner right, back to the partner. And that's another style or technique that you can use in certain calls to show it.
In the course of our club dances, I'm sure that we've all heard in these showmanship panels about the peaks and the valleys and where you put your workshop material and what's the, but we've never really, that I know of, and I've gotten most of the tapes from this, we've never really looked at how effectively can we present. So if we're going to have a feature tip or a theme tip, and I think each tip that you do should center around something. It might, whatever it might be. It might be ladies' chain, or it might be if you have a plus group, it could perhaps be diamonds. or something, or if it's a basic group, it could be split circulates, trades or something. As we're featuring this call, how can we as showmen feature it effectively? What can we do with it? And here's where you have to apply all of your tools, because you have to apply choreographically. How's that word?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You have to be creative choreographically to entertain them, in a sense. And at the same point, you don't want to be monotonous. You want to express exuberance in your teaching. How can you take people through a call that perhaps they've never seen before, or perhaps a formation in which they've never seen this call? How can you do it creatively and effectively and not break them down? So how can you teach a call? And we talked about it a while ago with the pass-through separation round ones. How can you do that with a regular call, like a mainstream call, or to do it from a position that they're not familiar with? To me, that's a lot more important than learning how to do flip the widget. I think one of the big problems we've made over the years is that we don't use the lower levels effectively. That we as callers rely on. For instance, we don't do Dixie style because it throws them in a left-handed wave. Now I got to teach trade the wave because that's the only way I want to get out of Dixie style. So let's take that. That's a good example. Let's use, how do we get out of a Dixie style without calling a left-handed something that I can be creative and have the dancers? I don't want to do a left-handed tip. I just want to throw them in a left-handed wave, put them in, get them out. But I don't want to call trade the wave. What can I do from this? If we could get two couples, we don't need a whole square. If we could have two volunteers. Maybe we can,
a volunteer.
Yeah, two volunteers. There we go. Yeah, that's why I wanted you to sit up here. Besides that, you were getting sleepy.
All right.
I saw you nodding off. I did. And if you nodded off, I was going to get you.
We didn't have jelly beans to throw at them, but we could have got them.
Your shirt has your initials on it, BJ. I'm impressed. All right. Let's just see, for instance, now, and this would be prep time that you perhaps want to do at home, but let's see exactly what happens on you guys, let me give you a little flow. Do a right and a left through. Let me give you a little flow. Perfect. Pass through. Partner trade. Reverse Dixie style. Boy pull by with the left. Turn the girl to the right. Girls trade. Is that neat or what? Hinge a quarter. Girls turn around. Do a right and a left through. Here it comes now. Dixie style to an ocean wave. Now I have a left-handed ocean wave. I don't want to call left swing through. Why?
You got the boys flowing in there.
Too much. It's too much. Yeah. So I obviously got to do something with the boys here. Okay.
Preferably a trade or something.
Yeah. Preferably like maybe boys trade. Now I've got a little body flow. Left swing through. I got to get them out of left-handed wave. Everybody finish a chain down the line.
There you go.
Finish. I already had them trade. Okay?
Now, that's what Tony just did right there, was he took a call, he dissected a bit, fudged the definition, maybe not much, but what he did was he got them through a routine, finished like a chain down the line. Well, nowhere on the program is Leica listed, but he got them through it. Leica, chain down the line.
And that is more fun. That is more, they get more surprised at that than if I'd have called a chain down the line. Because they already know how to do chain down the line, but they don't know how to do Leica.
That's right.
Okay? We finished Leica something else.
Right.
Okay? That added a whole new dimension to the Dixie style. What else can we do from a Dixie style that'll be cute, that we can do effectively without having to teach? Now, that's the important thing. We want to get these people through some stuff without having them check their spot and stop and do this. Do a right and a left through. If I can do one more.
Get 'em.
Put her in the lead. Dixie style to an ocean wave. Perfect. All the boys hinge. Girls face in. Boys extend. Boy run around the girl. Boom. I converted left-handed something, left-handed ocean wave, to a right-handed formation, which I'm more accustomed to. The dancers are more familiar with. If you're out in front of a bunch of strange people or at another club, I can tell you now that you're going to get in trouble if you concentrate a whole lot on left-handed techniques, because dancers, okay, United States dancers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Qualify that.
Yeah. But the majority of the dancers in the world.
That'll be good. That'll be good.
Are a little hesitant about left-handed things. So you've got to give it to them in spurts. I think you should call left-handed stuff to them.
But here's an idea.
Yeah.
Did you finish yours?
I'm done. I'm just standing here.
Do a right and left through. Ladies lead, Dixie style. Get back into that ocean wave again. Let's have the men do anything you want, preferably a trade there. All right, let's try. All right, we've got them set up in this action. Now, let's do a left linear cycle. Hinge, boy fold behind the girl, double left pass, peel left, got a line, or what have you. Now, by changing that left, by putting it into a left linear cycle, they might not have ever heard that before. But you have to get them in a setup where you think they're going to have more success if I call it from here. If you have the girls in the center and the guys are the leaders, not as much success because it doesn't end up normal when you finish.
That's it. No, that was the whole, I was going to bring that in. This call started weird, but it ended normal. Now, if you start a call weird and it ends weird, you're not going to have much success.
Right. Now, if you take it and you start it from a weird setup and it doesn't come out right, well, what do you call to make it right? With a line spacing.
Square your steps.
No. With that particular call, you can say everybody do a pass through. So everybody do a pass through. All the boys fold in front of one girl. Touch a quarter. And now you're back to something normal.
And it doesn't matter whether the one couple was sashayed and the other couple was normal.
So if they did it wrong, who cares?
Yeah, show them that. Boy run around a girl. Bend the line. Just you guys half sashay. Just you guys, right? Here's what we got. Okay, now in advance, these guys are smart. They said, hey, listen, I'm tired of being in this thing. We could make this call called half-breed through that'll fix us. Now, as mainstream callers, we don't have that luxury. Everybody pass through. Boys fold in front of the girl. One boy's going right. Notice one couple was sashay, one's normal. Touch a quarter, we're back normal. See, that's the key word here. We've done something weird, now we're back normal. Okay?
Put them back to something they're familiar with.
Yeah, that's the whole point in it.
I think, let's give these dancers
a nice hand for these guys. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, all right. Now, utilizing choreography with showmanship styles would also lead into whatever gimmicks that you want to use, or theme tips. Tony's already mentioned theme tips. We're talking about gimmicks.
Yeah. Can we get a square? We need four, and we will let you guys rest. Can we get 4 couples? Yeah, because remember, we were going to talk about the 2 of us doing. One of the things we want to get into is the 2 of us doing stuff, remember? We're going to do that? We still got to sing, too, don't we? It's on the list, sing.
Yeah, we need a square. Come on in here, folks. Let's get a square up here on the floor.
We need 4 couples. Now, be aware, we're going to show you some gimmick stuff that when you use gimmicks, be aware, guys, that a little bit of this stuff goes a long way. Okay, but it's kind of neat to have a little different things in your bag. Let's say Tim and I are working together. And so often we see callers working together. Now, a lot of guys are teaming up and doing things together.
Is this our duet portion of the
well, it appears to be because it's 5 of 10, and we got to be out of here at 10:15.
Let's do it.
Okay, so have you guys ever done the if you want a thing, if you want to, if you did? How can we apply that for 2 callers and make it showy, make it effective? All right, let's say Tim and I are playing around, and we've all done things like pass the mic. And here's how we'd probably build into this. I'd say, Tim, let's do this thing together. And why don't you do a couple of calls? You set them up, and I'll get them out. And then I'll set them up, and you get them out.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and that's the kind of thing we do. And then we would do it normal a couple of times. And perhaps Tim might leave me in a little different setup. But somewhere towards the end, I'm going to do something along this line here. Now, bear in mind that we've done a complete hash tip. He does 8 or 10 calls. And then he says, okay, Tony, get them out of that. And then I'll say, okay, and I get them out, and then I'll do 8 or 10 calls, give them to him. At some point, now, somebody has to be the fall guy, okay? It's not like good guy, bad guy, but you got to have one guy,
Good caller, bad caller?
Good cop, bad cop. All right, let's have, here's a little gimmick.
If you want to?
Yeah, this is an if you want to kind of deal. Let's have the heads, you guys. Step in and face your corner. Start through. Now, be aware that we've already worked this out in the meantime, and Tim knows.
I'm ready for the setup.
He's ready. Now now the floor thinks we're doing things normal.
You set him up, I'll get him out.
Yeah, right. Okay. So I'm doing, so here we go. So everybody pass through. Wheel and deal. Oh yeah. Now you don't have to do this, but anybody that wants to can partner trade. And you don't have to do this, but if you would like to and if you can square through 3. If you're not doing anything and you would like to roll away, feel free to do so. And if you would like to, you don't have to again. If you would like to, you can California twirl. Any boy or any girl can run left or right around the boy or girl beside of them. And whoever would like to can do a U-turn back. There you go. Now, everybody turn and face your partner. Get in lines of 4. Now, be aware that this particular thing, we can wind up with situations where you got 4 boys together, 4 girls. All right, everybody go forward and back. Oh, yeah. Everybody pass through. Wheel and deal. And those in the middle, one couple's normal, one couple's sachet, do a right and a left through. Now, I said, okay, hot shot, fix this. Now, be aware that although this couple is just like this, we could very well have a situation where there were 3 boys and a girl in the middle from doing this thing. I say, okay, hot shot, take them. I'm going to make a big gesture out of doing this.
And walk off the... Now. And the music's pumping and jamming, and the dancers are like going, you're like, all right. Now, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to go, centers, square through, get it, go 3/4 round, out of man left, all the way around, come back to your partner, full turn, promenade back home or wherever that might be. Take her back, put her back. And immediately they've got their partner back, and it's like, and they look, they say, how do you do that?
Okay, but now, we had planned this earlier. Now, I just can't, and I got to tell you an example. Several years ago, it's been 7 or 8, 9 years ago, I did this exact same routine with John Marshall. I don't know if you guys are familiar with John. John is one of the finest choreographers in our business, got a mind. And I had told him that, I said, hey, listen, I'm going to set you up for a square through 3, get out. He said, okay. And I did this. Well, John thought I was really trying to test his sight calling skills. Now, we're doing the Santa Clara Valley Festival in San Jose, California, and there's literally probably 250 squares on the floor.
Big crowd.
That are in every conceivable formation, and John is saying, okay, the original head boy.
Now, another thing that makes that successful, that particular gimmick and routine, is the quicker you can say it. If you want to, but you don't have to. If you like, but if you can, it doesn't matter, but it's up to you. Really, it doesn't matter. If you like, but if you can, just do your turn back. But if you don't want to, you can do right and left too. But if you're just standing there, hey, how about doing a partner tray? Or something like that. And the quicker you say that, the dancers are doing things, they're like going, what's going on? He's out of control.
But at the same token, we've got gimmicks. Since we have this square that dances so well, what if we want to take some people through some things? One of the best things we as callers can do is learn to dance the level above the level that we call the most. You will find that you'll be able to employ parts of calls from upper levels. For instance, let's have the head step in, face your corner. Maybe you guys think of calling this stuff all the time. I don't know. Touch a quarter. All right, what do we normally do here? Scoot back, okay? Well, I don't know. All right, just for example, scoot back, go. And the boys fold behind the girl. Yeah. Now, already we've got something different. We've got it different. Let's make it normal. Girls pass through, touch a quarter. Boys trade. Boy run. Well, now, there is a call on the C1 or I don't know, one of those upper level lists that's called, I'm assuming, let's say you have a plus dance. This is a plus thing. I'm assuming that all of you guys dance plus and that you're familiar with follow your neighbor and spread. There's a call on the C1 list, I think it is, that is a 3/4 tag, your neighbor and spread. These guys have never seen it. I'm going to try to talk them through it. Okay? Here's the way I would present that. Bend the line first. Let's get a little flow. Do a right and a left through. See if I can do this. Just to get them going. Slide through. Touch a quarter. Follow your neighbor and spread. Boy cast. Girl fold. Roll. Squeeze in there, girls. Perfect. Fan the top. Girl cast. Wonderful. Do a right and a left through. Pass the ocean. Here it comes. Swing through.
Here you go.
Boy run around a girl. 3/4 tag the line. Boys, finish like a neighbor and spread. Girls, you going to the right. Get in between the two boys.
Boom. They did it and didn't even know it.
I've added a whole new dimension. Hinge a quarter with the right hand. Girls, turn around. What about this? You got one?
I got one.
You do one.
Pass the ocean. Do a linear cycle. But the girls scoot back now. Come on back.
That ought to have a name.
Yeah, that should have it. Girls turn around. Here, just getting things. Pass through. Do a chase right. But the boys scoot back now.
Wait a minute, I got one better than that. Boy run around a girl. Everybody pass through. Bend the line. Let's get you some of the new folks. Do a right and a left through. Everybody pass through. Chase right. Boys, when you meet, everybody finish like a neighbor and spread. Cast, boys. Get out, boys. Girls, get in. Boom.
Woo, they didn't even realize it. And they're dancing the plus calls and mainstream calls with a little twist.
Yeah, and only because I had researched this material from somewhere. But now notice that we never, ever taught a call. But now, and here's the way I would present this. Hinge a quarter for me. Girls, turn around. Now, we just did a call called Chase Your Neighbor and Spread, is what we did. But I didn't give it a name. I had everybody pass through. Chase right. Boys, when you meet, everybody's going to finish like a neighbor and spread. Boy, cast. Girl, get out. Perfect. Girls, trade. Everybody, linear cycle. This gives me time to talk. Guys, that has a name. It's called Chase Your Neighbor and Spread. Pass through. Bend the line. Do a right and a left through. Remember that name. We're going to use it in a minute. Everybody pass through. Get ready. Chase your neighbor and spread. I'm going to cue it again. Start your chase. Boys, when you meet, cast 3 in the middle. Spread apart. Girls, get in. Notice that not only did I call it, I cued it. I did the exact same thing I did the first time.
Helper words.
Helper words. I cued them through it. But this time, in the course of cueing it, I gave it a name at the same time. I'm not advocating teaching C1 calls to people. This will add variety to your plus program. This added a whole new dimension to a follow your neighbor and spread kind of tip, if that would be your theme tip.
Now, I tell you, the only way this is successful is if you're out there energetically and you're using showmanship techniques to get the dancers involved so that they just, as a matter of factly, happen to fall into it.
Yeah.
If you sit there and just say, okay, now we're going to do this and hinge and
you guys can rest.
It doesn't work that way, folks. So choreography.
Nice hand for the square.
Nice hand.
But you know
some things duet-wise.
But that's only half of our job, this patter stuff that we do, that we seem to put so much time in. We as callers have now choreographed ourselves into not having hardly any dancers now, because we're in this teach, learn, hard drill mode, and these dancers are not having fun, and they're not coming back, and the people that you had in your lessons last year in your class are now using, instead of going to Tuesday night square dance club, they're bowling on Tuesday nights. Because we've given them so much meat, we've given them so much, and we haven't given them any dessert. We don't give them any dessert. And your singing call is your dessert. Now, I've got a singing call. I want to show you guys. This is a great singing, and this is one that Tim and this is one that Daryl Clendenin on Chinook number 082B. This is a great song. It's that old song. Won't you play a simple... You remember that one? It's a really neat kind of it's one of those dances you do at the end of the evening and get the people where they really, really just kind of relax them. You know, you guys know the song. Okay, I want to do this. I want you to help me sing it.
Just, we're going to do this, but now, hey, we're talking, how do we handle showmanship with 2 callers? We're going to be doing a duet here. Now, this particular instance, first of all, you have to know the mechanics of your equipment. One has to keep the volume control down. You have to have splitters in order to handle the other things.
To say that's on the list. I forgot to say that.
But anyway, so you got splitters and how to handle equipment. One has to be down for the other one to operate. Now, we get them into a singing call routine, and Tony's going to set it up, or either one of us say, hey, I want to do a record. Well, let's do this one record. Tony, let's do this record. I like this.
This is a great song. I'm telling you, this is called Won't You
No. It's another song.
No, it's not. I do this all the time. It's called
No. I want to do the song that's Play Me a Rag. Play some...
No. The song is Won't You Play...
No. Well, let's do them both.
Okay. See the routine? Now, we could put the record on and just do it, but now the reaction you're going to get, you guys are saying, God, this is great. We're going to have a showmanship session and nobody's going to sing. Fooled you. Here we go.
Well, they might still.
Side space, grand square. User higher three combo melodious chings back like my mother sang to me. This way. I went left into either and one with good old fashioned swing promenade, and that is playing a simple melody. All right, now, see the effect we're getting? It's one of those ones. Now the people are actually listening to both of the songs, okay? Which is what we wanted them to do.
All right, this half singing, this half.
And I got guys over here singing. You feed off of each other. There's so many times now callers work in duets. I see the national convention a lot. I see the most strange combination of callers that have never. Well, it would be kind of like if I had never met Tim in my life and we decided to do something together. I don't think it's going to be real effective if we've never practiced together. I may be effective by myself. Tim may be effective by himself, and he may be a great caller, and I may be a great caller. Somebody might think so, maybe not. But together, if we've never worked together, we could very well be the Pits. And I've heard two really good callers get on the stage together, and both of them sound really bad. Whereas individually they would have done well, but together they were the Pits.
And I think that Gladys Knight in the and I think too that working with two callers or working with more than one caller in showmanship styles, you have to have some knowledge on how to do that. Who sings melody? Who sings harmony? If you're and set that up beforehand. You maybe sit before the dance and think, and be honest with yourself. You have to know your limitations. Say, hey, all I sing is melody, or all I ever sing is harmony.
Be aware that singing high is not necessarily singing harmony. I see that a lot too. One caller just rears back and sings high, and the other one sings low. The two have to blend. Normally, a lead tenor is a very good blend, where one guy's singing the lead and one other is, and I say guy, I could mean girl, either way. But one guy is singing the higher. Yeah. Do the same. Well, here's the same. You want to do a different one?
Oh, we could do that one because it's got so many parts to it.
Okay. Now here's the same song doing the same parts. The first time we did it, I sang lead, he was singing lead. We were both singing the lead part of two different songs. Now we can change this blend, and I could sing the lead for my part. You could sing the tenor,
I'll do the tenor part
for your part. Okay. Let's start off do lead, and then change on like the. You figure out where you're going to change since I'm not changing. But you'll notice them change. Side space, grand square, wall to me, you higher, how am I doing, Charlie? Like my mother sang to me. You ought to change somewhere along here. It's one. Notice the difference? Now, the second half of that was a lead tenor. He was singing the tenor part. Now, you can go further with we won't do it, but you could do baritone tenor, sometimes blends well. Lead baritone sometimes blends well. But this ain't the first time we've ever picked this record up and did it. It takes, you have to work together. Tim and I work together ever so often, once every biannually something.
Biannually.
It's getting close towards the end if we're going to have any questions. But be aware, when you work together, prepare. Know the guy that you're going to work with. Don't, sit together 5 minutes before the dance and work out some type of battle plan. For heaven's sake, you sure wouldn't want to cold turkey leave a guy with this weird-looking if you want a thing and just give it to him and him not know anything.
Right.
So be prepared.
You got to have fun with each other, folks, while you're on stage.
If the two guys on the stage are having fun or the one guy on the stage is having fun, it's going to promote that amongst the audience. They will feed off of you. You will feed off of them. People ask me a lot because I travel full-time. They say, God, how do you stay up? How do you, I say, God, man, it's great. I got people out there every night that just shower me with warmth, and they get excited, and it just comes into me, and I feel great. I'm dead after the dance. But during that 2 hours or 3 hours, I feed off of these people. They feed off of me, and we have a relationship.
Energy.
It's great.
And when you're working together like this, it's a totally different program than working by yourself. You have to be aware of and respect, as a professional, what the other individual can accomplish and what they do. I don't want to do something that's going to be so showy. I don't see how we could with Tony, but with a certain individuals, you don't want to go overboard on something, and then they come up on stage because they can't meet that. And you've got to respect that with each other in a professional manner. You have to work
as a team if you're going to work as a twosome. As a single, it doesn't matter. We got about 5 or 10 minutes. That's pretty much the gist of what we had to say. Good word.
The gist.
We would be happy to entertain questions or comments at this time. If you have a question or comment, please use the mic. Any questions? Gripes?
Please.
Certainly somebody. Yes, sir. Use the mic.
I'm Gary Millay from Portland, Oregon. One thing that I find, especially on one-night stands, is to use familiar music.
Oh, without a doubt.
Something that they've heard, well, let's go with the country western line dance stuff. Boot, scoot, and boogie. Put boot, scoot, and boogie on and just kind of keep it down low. Let it play in the background, and pretty soon you're watching the people on the side. They're tapping their feet and things like that.
Right.
Also, one of the things that I like to do, and probably a lot of other, I'm only new at this. I've been doing it for only 4 years. One of the favorite things that I like to do, every time you call head square through for do-sa-do, they automatically step to an ocean wave. It works effective in a pattern record, and you say, wait a minute, I didn't say step to a wave. So they step back out, do a right and left through. And they're still waiting to say, now step to an ocean wave, or, cute little things like that.
By the same token. Yeah. Have them do-sa-do. I didn't say step to a wave, and they back up, and then call swing through.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, or you just say, okay, step to a wave.
Yeah. and one other comment about classes, I find that I don't refer to them as students. I refer to them as new dancers. After the first class, I say, I want to thank all the new square dancers for coming out tonight.
And I make a point, too, on my beginner night or one-night stand to say, hey, you're square dancers already.
Because once they step to that first beat of the music, they have become square dancers. We got to be aware of that. Even turn around, Charlie. And now, incidentally, can you guys notice that when we talked earlier about singling somebody out, I've singled poor Charlie out the whole time. But we've all laughed, but we've not laughed at Charlie's expense. We've kind of laughed with me, but I haven't made that much of a fool of Charlie.
Sorry, Charlie.
Sorry, Charlie. Any other questions?
Some comments? Jim. Yep, sorry. Here comes Jim.
This is Jim Shimandale. Jim Shimandale, who is
one of our well-known traveling callers, wrote a movement called Go Right to a Wave. And it's very easily called the same way you call it, by just having one couple do a chase right and the other couple do a tag the line, and then you finish it off. And you can call it while they're going through the music. And I really think that they should see that, because it's a good movement, Tim.
Well, let me just describe it. All it is with the lines looking out, the couple on the right-hand side will do a chase right and then a single hinge. Couple on the left-hand side looking out will do a tag the line and the lead person right roll or turn around, and you have waves. It finishes like the ending part of the exchange the gears, where they're going single file and they flip together and make waves. That's another call, like the scoot back or the chase and scoot or the chase your neighbor things that maybe you can play with to get them into that. Come on up. Come on down. Okay, Ron.
You know Charlie?
My name's Ron Nelson. I'm from Anderson, California. And take this not as a criticism, but one of the biggest showman acts I ever seen was Tony, about 5 years ago, was teaching a quarterly selection to a large group down in Las Vegas. And then he turned around and called something else completely off the wall, like grand space. Now, that's showmanship. I'm telling you, that whole floor roared.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was neat.
Yeah, the call I was teaching, I spent like 10 minutes teaching this call, and then I put the music on and called something totally different.
Reverse Dixie style.
This was like Grand Colonel Spin or something. It was something they'd never seen. I don't know why I called it. Yeah.
I don't know. Any other comments, folks? Or? All right.
Well, you tied up. You wrote this part down.
Basically, what we discussed this morning here, and we appreciate you all taking your time out and to come see us. Tell everybody to buy the tape.
We get $1 a tape from this thing.
What we appreciate this y'all coming out. But now look, we've taken showmanship techniques and we've related it to beginner nights, one-night stands, classes. We've worked it through experimentals and using techniques of showmanship, how to keep and retain dancers. With your showmanship techniques, it will make a difference out of your delivery, and it makes a difference if you're a $100 caller or a $1,000 caller, it will make a difference in your style and delivery and technique.
Yeah, and kind of in conclusion, in keeping with our theme, it's going to be hard to reach out and teach someone if you're not close enough to them in an abstract way that they can relate to you. So the important thing that we have to remember, as showmen, as callers, as entertainers, let's relate to the people. Don't forget that these guys out there are not robots. They're not dolls to be manipulated. These guys are there to dance and have fun. And as long as we put the fun in it, and here's where the showmanship comes in. You put the fun in it, they're going to learn. It may take a little longer, but they're going to learn, but you're going to retain them. And that's going to be the important part. Thank you guys for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of the convention.
Enjoyed it. Thank you.